Welcome back, LTV viewers, and welcome back to the boardroom, Sam. Sam, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Kennedy. I'm part of the marketing team at Crestron, over 25 years in the unified communications industry, and happy to be here.
Yeah, well, Crestron, I know, is very comfortable in rooms like our executive $100,000 rental a month penthouse suite. You make this work for us. Now, this is kind of going to be fun for us because you're actually sharing some top secret information. We're recording this before InfoComm, and by the time everyone sees this, they'll have the announcements, but we've talked about this. This is big. People are going to need, they're going to need to process. After InfoComm, they're going to say, I need to hear more about those Crestron announcements. So what can you share with us?
So there's quite a few things that we're going to be talking about at InfoComm, as you can imagine. For us, InfoComm is one of the most significant trade shows for Crestron. We put a lot of time and effort, and there's a lot of things that we're going to be demonstrating and showing at InfoComm. But the biggest announcement, I believe, this year at InfoComm for us will be around control. Now, control, what we're talking about here is the ability to be able to do anything inside of a room, right? Having your touch panel that allows you to turn on and off the lights, be able to control the shades, be able to control different third-party devices like a Blu-ray player, different cameras, being able to control the monitor, cable box, I hear that all the time. So there's lots of different use cases to be able to control different things inside of rooms. Now, historically, obviously, when customers go with a Microsoft Teams room or a Zoom room or a Webex room, Microsoft, Zoom, Cisco, they provide the user interfaces, and you have the basic needs of what you would need on your unified communication solution, right? I can control my Zoom room, I can control my Teams room, I can control my Webex room. But if I have any other needs, I either have to have another panel in the room to be able to control that room that you're in, that we're in right now virtually, or I don't have any of those types of capabilities. So what we're announcing at InfoComm is the ability for Crestron Control to be embedded inside of a Zoom room, inside of a Webex room, inside of a Google Meet room, and now a Microsoft Teams room. Now, to be clear, Crestron Control has been in a Microsoft Teams rooms since the inception of Teams rooms, but the limiting factor there was it was a Crestron. It required Crestron Teams room, a Crestron Flex running the Microsoft Teams room application. Now what we're saying is we're opening up control into any third-party Microsoft Teams room on Windows. So the big news for us at InfoComm is the ability to bring Crestron Control into virtually the entire unified communications market.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, when I think of like my iPhone, we need a specialized hardware to run this software because it's iOS, the iPhone software is kind of weird. There's a lot of weird stuff. But Crestron software, it runs the room. It's not weird. It's not doing a lot of million things. I would think we could get it to run on any decent tablet. And why have two tablets on the table? I mean, like we said, we spent a lot of money for this room. I want to keep it as clean as possible. One nice tablet will do it for me.
And of course, it works for the large board rooms, but even there's use cases where down into smaller spaces, I live outside of New York, and I spend a lot of time with a lot of the financial services organizations, and it's not a trivial thing to be able to control or it's not a small request to be able to control the monitor, right? They want to switch between one financial show to another financial show. They want to switch to the news. And so being able to just control a cable box, it's a really big deal to the users. And what's so valuable about, a couple of points that get me really excited about what we can do with control is, on one hand, the answer is always yes. That's one of the things that's been, it's been really exciting about being at Crestron. With Crestron Control, we can solve virtually anything can be done with control. It's really, really exciting there. But while on one end we can go all the way wide to solving all these problems, you could be very basic or you could be very advanced in your rooms. And so that's what's so exciting here is that we have the tools to provide the users that consistent experience, right? Like you said, when I had two panels I may have one panel to control my Zoom room and another panel to control the room. That's really weird as a user experience. What's really exciting now is that Crestron interface is now built into the Zoom interface or the Teams interface or the Webex interface. And so from an end user perspective, when they're in the room, they have that consistent workflow. It's not that they have to do something different or they feel like I have to do this to control my Zoom room and I have to do something different to control the actual physical room. It's all integrated in this very seamless way. So the users never realize that they're coming out of the Zoom interface. They're always in it. And now you get all the benefits and all the bells and whistles that Crestron can control in a room like we're in this really grand boardroom, or all the way down to a much smaller room where maybe I only need a couple of basic controls.
You know, I'm so glad you said this. I feel silly. You pre-briefed me on this. I knew what we were going to talk about. I missed the enormity of this announcement. I was thinking of the 0.0001% of boardrooms like this one that are going to have the two panels, and it's nicer to have one panel. That's great. But what this announcement is every single Zoom room, every single Teams room, all of the rooms, they're all Crestron rooms now. So a medium-sized room or even a small room, it's like, look, we're not gonna Crestronize this whole room, but it'd be nice to control the lights, or it'd be nice to control the shades, or it'd be nice to control the camera. It'd be nice to have what's reasonable for the room.
The monitor, that's a big one. Just, it seems such a small, trivial thing, but being able to turn on and off the monitor, that's kind of a big deal, especially today where power consumption is a big deal. And so just providing the capabilities to turn on and off the monitor, change inputs on the monitor, those are use cases that can be relevant in every single room. And what's so exciting to me now is we can now go to all of these different third-party UC solutions and pull in this Crestron story into it. I'll give you some, two of the things that we're going to be demonstrating in our booth. So anyone who will have come to our booth at InfoComm will have seen this. But we're actually going to show a Neat Bar Pro with running the Zoom room with Crestron Control inside of it. So in other words, when you come to our booth, you'll see the Neat Bar Pro with the Neat controller, and you'll be able to go into the Neat controller. You'll see the little room controls via Zoom, and that's all Crestron on the back end. So it enables us to be able to talk to customers who may have they chose Neat, they're deploying Neat bars all over the place. You can now bring in Crestron Control into those rooms that already exist. The other, so we'll show Neat Bar, and we're also going to show a Logitech Tap on MTR and Windows running Crestron Control as well. I've had some customers that have told us they like Logitech for their MTR and Windows, and so but they've needed and they've wanted Crestron Control. So we're now able to go back to those customers. So it's new rooms, existing rooms, as long as you have a modern, updated version of hardware like a Zoom room. I think it needs to be version 5.17. I wouldn't go I would definitely go read the release notes. But as long as you're a modern version of the Zoom room, like I said, with the Neat Bar, we're able to do that. Same with Logitech. As long as you're running a relatively recent version of MTR and Windows, you'll be able to get that as well. And so really excited that we're going to expand this to just all these different environments.
Yeah, it's just, I don't want to overstate it, but it just seems huge to me. Every Logitech room, every Neat room, every Zoom room, no matter who the vendor is, they're all Crestron rooms now, or they're all potentially Crestron rooms.
They're all potentially Crestron rooms, right? If you have the use case where you need to control something outside of what Microsoft, Zoom, Cisco, or Google can provide, you now have the tools to do this. And I think it's important to call out that Crestron Control, while I said it earlier, we can solve almost any single problem with our control, right? There's just so much flexibility built into this, so that if you have the most advanced training room or command and control center, we can solve the largest problems. And as it starts to get into those more complicated, high impact spaces, we have a set of integrators and partners and that have been certified with our training. And so there is a group of individuals who are specifically trained to build the workflows and the use cases and do all of that Crestron Control to be able to do that. We also have tools available, like something we call AV Framework, which is a very nice, small, it's a drag and drop interface that makes it, anyone with some relatively technical skills, if they have just a real basic need where, again, like I said, you want to change the inputs on a monitor, you don't have to go in and spend tens of thousands or whatever it costs for an integrator to come in and actually have to do that. So to your point of that it works in every single room, we have the tools and the solutions for all of those rooms, from a basic room where I just have some basic needs, like I said, controlling the monitor or controlling the lights. We have the tools to do that, all the way up to the large boardroom like we're in, very large training, large, complex, high-impact spaces. We have the tools. Plus, I would also mention, I can't help myself, we also can, there's really two main methods of purchasing Crestron Control. I can either purchase it as a hardware device, so a physical appliance that sits in the room, or I can virtualize that. So a lot of our larger organizations, they want to virtualize it. So I want to have one software instance or redundant software instances, and I think we can support up to 250 rooms or 500 rooms. I mean, some significant amount of rooms can be supported by having this virtual instance. So it gives a lot of flexibility to our customers to deploy it, what makes sense for them in the spaces that make sense for them, and be able to deliver all the capabilities that make sense for those specific users.
I just want to follow up on something you said. A lot of company reps can come in here and say that their hardware can be programmed to do this, that, and everything else. And but you guys are smart. You had me out to your Modern Work Summit for the analysts, which you had on the same day as your developer summit. So I spent 2 days or a day and a half talking to all of your developers. And I talked to them about what they can do with your hardware. So when you were just talking 2 minutes ago about, our hardware can be programmed to do whatever your room needs.
It's true. Like, they are that talented. This is a talented group. They are,
and the support
geniuses.
that you give them, you got to give yourself credit, because they're not just out there. They're not just out there in the wild, like there's communities, developer communities for a lot of companies, but the support that you give them, and they are good. What you're saying about it could do anything, and now it's in every room.
And now it can be in every room.
Potentially.
Yeah, I think we had over 1,000 we call them masters that we trained at the end of March. Who got their recertification or got their certification. And some of them have been doing this for many, many years. There's all sorts of levels of certification on there. And so, even the most complex rooms. Now, again, I've been talking to some customers about how excited they are about these new capabilities of embedding Crestron Control into their UC platforms. And some of them have said, I have some rooms that are very advanced that need all that level of depth, that still want to have that consistent user interface. It still wants to feel like my UC platform, but I have that extra level of needs. And they're bringing in those masters to do all of that design. And the same customer says, in some of my small basic rooms, we have the talent to they've been trained themselves, and therefore they're going and doing and building some of that control themselves, because again, they have very basic needs, but all of those capabilities are now embedded inside of the user interfaces, leveraging Crestron Control. It's I am very, hopefully you can see it. This is we think a really significant opportunity for us. Is why we're going to really be banging the drum hard at InfoComm, because we think this is a situation where everyone wins, right? In our industry, I think all boats rise here, right? Where customers get the choice of flexibility that they want on what the UC platform they want, which vendor they want. Obviously we get to win. The end users get to win. They don't have two panels, or they're able to bring in new capabilities they haven't been able to do in these rooms. And this whole community of integrators and developers who like to bring in and build a lot of these capabilities for these more advanced rooms. They're just itching to be able to get in and solve a lot of these problems for customers. So it's a very exciting time, and it's just one of these few times in my career where everyone wins in this situation, and it's a very, very exciting, I think, very profound announcement that we're making here at InfoComm.
Yeah. And just my final thought, when you say everyone wins, one important winner that you mentioned is, we have to mention, is the people sitting in the meeting rooms. We have to be bending over our backwards to make the experience better for the meeting rooms. And what you we talked other times, we'll talk again, what you're doing with multi-camera solutions, so we get good framing, so we're not at the end of the bowling alley. All that stuff makes it better for the user, because our people are saying, you know, I would have preferred to stay home and do this meeting on Zoom, where I have access to my files and access to my recordings and access to my coffee, instead of driving in and sitting in the meeting room. So if we want people to come in, we have to make everything really, really nice for them. And 2 panels, one to control this stuff and one to control that stuff. What am I, in 2 different rooms? No, bring it all together, make it nice for the user. Like you said, it is a winner for everyone, but the final thought is nice for the user.
It's nice for the consistent experience. You know, like I said, I've been doing this over 25 years, and to me, consistency is what drives adoption for the users. And so embedding it inside of that user interface that they're already familiar with, I think, is really critical. So yeah, I'm 100% with you. The big winner here is the end users. They're the big winner, as I think that now we can provide all sorts of capabilities to them that we just couldn't before. And so I think it's a very, very exciting time. And I agree, the big winner here is the end users.
Awesome. Well, this was a big one. Thank you so much for sharing it here at Let's Do Video. Any final thoughts?
No. Again, we'll be excited to see everybody at InfoComm. And I would say, go to Crestron.com, reach out to me, S. Kennedy at Crestron.com. If you have any other questions, please talk to your partners, your integrators, any of your UC platforms, vendors as well. And you please reach out to us, because I think this is we solve some really major industry problems here. And so really looking forward to working with all of you out there. And so please reach out to us and let us help you.
All right. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for watching. Take care.